Hi there, I'm Ann, your local real estate expert, here to simplify the home buying process for you. If you're thinking about purchasing a home, you've probably wondered, what are all these fees I keep hearing about? And, more importantly, who's responsible for paying them? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In today's video, we'll take a comprehensive look at all the fees involved in a home purchase and break them down so you'll know exactly what to expect. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you've been through the process before, this video will help you feel more prepared and confident as you move forward. Let's dive right in. When you're buying a home, there are a variety of costs that come into play beyond the price of the home itself. Some are paid up front, while others are wrapped into your mortgage payments. These fees fall into three broad categories: loan-related fees, property-related fees, and closing costs. I'll walk you through each one, and we'll discuss who typically pays for what along the way. Let's start with loan-related fees. If you're financing your home purchase with a mortgage, you'll encounter several costs associated with getting the loan. The first one is the loan application fee. This is charged by your lender to cover the cost of processing your application and pulling your credit report. Application fees can range anywhere from $100 to $500, depending on the lender. Next is the loan origination fee. This is a big one, so pay attention. The loan origination fee is what your lender charges for setting up your loan, and it's typically calculated as a percentage of your loan, usually around 1%. So if you're borrowing $300,000, the origination fee could be $3,000. This fee is typically paid by the buyer. Another common related cost is the discounts points fee. Have you ever heard the term buying down your rate? That's what discount points are for. You can buy an upfront fee to lower your interest rate over the life of the loan. Each point costs 1% of the loan amount and typically reduces your interest rate by about 0.25%. This is an optional fee, so it's up to you as the buyer to decide if it's worth it. Now, let's talk about property-related fees. These are costs that relate to the home itself and verifying that it's a good investment. First up, you'll have the home inspection fee. A home inspection is a crucial step in the buying process because it helps you identify any potential issues with the property before you commit. The cost of a home inspection usually falls between $300 and $500, and this fee is paid by the buyer. Next is the appraisal fee. Your lender will require an appraisal to ensure the home is worth the amount you're borrowing. The appraisal fee is typically between $300 and $600 and is also paid by the buyer. Keep in mind that the appraisal benefits you as well. It helps ensure you're not overpaying for the property. Another property-related cost to be aware of is the survey fee. This may not be required in every transaction, but if it is, it will involve hiring a professional to confirm the property's boundaries. Survey fees usually range from $300 to $1,000, and buyers are generally responsible for covering this cost. Now let's move on to the big category, closing costs. This is where most of the fees involved in a home purchase come into play. Closing costs typically range from 2% to 6% of the home's purchase price. For example, if you're buying a $300,000 home, you can expect to pay between $6,000 and $18,000 in closing costs. One major closing cost is the title insurance fee. Title insurance protects you and your lender from any legal disputes over property ownership. There are two types of title insurance: the lender's policy, which is required, and the owner's policy, which is optional but highly recommended. The buyer usually pays for the lender's policy, while the seller may cover the owner's policy. Another key closing cost is the escrow fee, also known as the closing or settlement fee. This fee is paid to the escrow company or attorney who facilitates the closing process. The cost is typically split between the buyer and the seller. You'll also encounter property taxes and prepaid expenses. At closing, the buyer is usually required to prepay some property taxes and homeowners insurance premiums. These amounts vary depending on your local tax rates and insurance provider, but they're important to budget for. Finally, there's the recording fee. This is a fee that is charged by your local government to officially record the sale of property. It's usually a small cost, often between $50 and $200, and is typically paid for by the buyer. So who pays for what? While buyers are responsible for most of the fees we've covered, sellers also have costs to consider. For example, the seller typically pays the real estate agent commissions, which are usually around 5% to 6% of the home's sale price. These commissions are split between the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. Sellers may also cover some of the closing costs as part of the negotiation process. For example, it's common for sellers to agree to pay for a portion of the buyer's closing costs to make the deal more appealing. Now that we've broken down the fees and who's responsible for them, here are a few tips to help you save money during the home buying process. First, shop around for lenders and compare their fees. Some lenders charge higher application or origination fees than others, so it's worth doing your research. Second, don't be afraid to negotiate with the seller. If you're in a buyer's market, you may be able to ask the seller to cover some of your closing costs. Finally, work with an experienced real estate agent who can guide you through the process and help you find opportunities to save. Buying a home is a significant investment, but understanding the fees involved can help you feel more in control and prepared. By knowing what to expect and who's responsible for each cost, you can approach the process with confidence and avoid any unwelcome surprises. If you're planning to buy a home soon, I'd love to help guide you through the process and answer any questions you have. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who's thinking about buying a home. And don't forget to check out the description below for more details and ways to connect with me. See you in the next video.